refining our objectives, and answering many questions. In all this, we have kept our eyes on the main goal of getting this national dialogue take off to further consolidate national unity and enhance national development. We are now ready to start the work. It is therefore now my great pleasure, Your Excellency, to invite you to address us. Your Excellency.
The Right Honorable Prime Minister, His Eminence Sheikh Mobaje, the head of the Interreligious Council, Justice Ogora, the head of the elders, all the other, the Secretary General of the NRM, all the other participants. I'm very happy to take part in this national dialogue, and we always like dialogue. This is because we have been engaged in political struggles for the last 58 years. What is now the NRM started around 1965. Some of us had been in the old political parties. I had been in DP. Rugunda had been in UPC. And we saw the problems of those parties. That is why around 1965 we started like a new force in the form of the student movement, which eventually became the NRM. Now in those 53 years, especially from 1965, we have a very clear idea about the political, the economic, the social issues. Even if you wake me up at midnight, I will tell you exactly what I think. Therefore, it is just a pleasure for me to be in a dialogue, especially with those people who have got different views. I've been dying for this. To tell them what we think and why. And we are here. We are going to tell you all, and Sandra, you will hear our position and why. Now in this dialogue, it will be among the political parties. It will also be between us and the religious leaders like Sheikh Mubaje here, who sometimes are peripherally in the issues. They may not get enough time to know what is happening because they get from one side. So it's good for me to sit down with them and say, this is what I believe and this is why I believe so. And the cultural groups, the cultural leaders, the ones whom Justice Ogora was talking about to some extent, the issue of diversity by those people who spend so much time on identity. They emphasize identity. for us, we handled that issue. We have put very clear views on it. So it will be our pleasure to clarify our position on the issue of identity. Identity versus interests. Because for us, we think that what has been the problem of Uganda has been opportunistic groups which emphasize identity and eclipse interests. We've got very clear ideas. No beating about the bush in every issue, because we have spent 53 years on this job. I remember I was at the university with Justice Ogola, and one of his colleagues, who was a student with us, they were a bit ahead of me. One of the colleagues called Bamturachi, George. I was in the first year. Bamturachi was like in third year or something. Second, he was ahead of me. Of course, we were with Aisha. And maybe at the end of my talk, I will say something which Aisha told me once. So, Bamturachi, because I was very active in the political work, in the student not student politics, actually African politics. And Bamturachi once called me to his room. He was staying in the other hall, the lower one, you know, the two tall halls. There was the one up, I think this the lower one was called Hall 2 or something like that. He was staying in that hall and I was staying in the other one. And he called me, and he was, of course, he was slightly older than me, and he told me that I was getting spoiled. He counseled me as an elder brother that I should not spend so much time with politics. I should concentrate on my studies, and I should not. He was worried that I was getting lost. Of course, I also told him what I thought, and then we parted ways. We didn't meet again. Of course, I went on with, I didn't stop. I didn't listen to Bamturachi. I went on with the politics, with the struggle. And in 1979, when we came here, I didn't meet him, but apparently, during that election of 1980, Bamturachi went and stood in Kabarole for DP, and the poor man was killed here in Kampala. Yes. And that's what I had told him in 1969, because he was, among the students, there were two lines. There were the careerists, the ones who wanted to study, finish, and work. The careerists. Bamturachi was one of them. Ogora here was another one. And then there were others like us who were confused, who said no. You cannot deal with the issues of society if you only concentrate on career. So these are the two lines. So we are now meeting after a long time. Now, But everybody should know that I could not have spent 53 years continuously. And you don't think that I have got a very clear idea about almost all issues involved with this issue. So I'm very happy to take part in this dialogue. You will hear our views. And it's good that now we have got the people who are like in the judiciary, like Justice Ogola, the religious people, who are, the cultural people. These cultural people, the ones who, when we restored the cultural institutions, I gave a speech about this in the IRCU. That speech I will table it here in this dialogue. Fortunately, whatever we do over the last 53 years is documented, and we shall be able to share those documents with you. Now, over these years, we have distilled 4 principles. Principle number 1, patriotism. That's what Justice Ogola is calling diversity, which some people think is a problem. For us, we don't think it's a problem. We think that we should emphasize the identity of Uganda, moyo wa Uganda. But I think many people, some of the people don't even listen to what we say. And this is the use of the dialogue. Because of prejudice, you say something, somebody doesn't listen to it. But now in a dialogue, you'll have to listen to me now. That's why I am here. I will listen to you, but you will also listen to me. And I come to the dialogue with my head. I don't leave it at home. If I left my dialogue at home, I would be worried. But I am here. So number 1, we don't believe in sectarianism. NRM does not believe in sectarianism. We believe in the patriotism, the identity of Uganda is superior to the identity of Ankole. I've said this in writing, we have said this in speeches, everybody knows this. Of course, some people are skeptical, they don't listen. But the majority of the Ugandans listen. That's why the NRM has been winning with 70%, the other time we won with 75%, the other time with 69%, the other time with 68%. I think the lowest we ever went was 59%. Always around that figure. Why? Because the majority of Ugandans believe our message of patriotism, of not thinking along sectarian lines. Because if they did, would be like 1962, where these people know, the chamber there knows, he knows the results of the elections of 1962. No party could get more than 50%. No party. Yes. No party, because they had fragmented the politics. But the lowest we ever went was 59%. This was 2006. Why? Because in spite of the skeptics, in spite of this, the bigger number of Ugandans seem to have a reasonable consensus. At one time we even went to 75%. These are statistical facts. So, this is our position, patriotism. Principle number 2, Pan-Africanism. I don't hear many political actors in Uganda here, or in Africa, talking about Pan-Africanism. And when you don't talk about Pan-Africanism, I regard you as a danger to the future of Africans. Recently, we had a big crop of maize the price collapsed. Why? Two reasons. First of all, we don't yet have enough processing capacity to process the maize into flour, into animal feed and so on, because that one would help. Because what collapsed was just the price of grain, and packing. But also because of the borders. In Kenya, they want maize. Here we have got too much maize. They are buying maize from Brazil. Here the maize, we are stuck with maize. So when you don't talk about Africa, you're just talking about Uganda. No, some are even talking about tribes, talking about religious groups. You are a danger to Africa. And I'm happy I've got this audience where I will be able to say sectarian people are a danger to our future, to our prosperity. Because if East Africa was one, we will not be having excess maize. Because in Kenya they want maize, but because of the borders, because of the fragmented decision making, somebody is buying maize from Brazil, yet the maize is here. We just disorganized. So I'm very happy to have this dialogue. Our second principle is Pan-Africanism. Number 3, socio-economic transformation. This one we made very clear from the beginning. That's what Dr. Gunda talked about. Education. How many children are in schools now? 8.8 million. What was the figure in 1986? All these figures are there. That is because of want, and we are getting. Because if you look at the literacy rate, what is the literacy rate today? The adult literacy rate, 75%. What was it in 1986? 43%. So that's our third principle. Number 4, democracy. Democracy. And when you say democracy, we mean democracy. We mean government by the people, for the people, and by the people. Not anything else. We shall have time to discuss. So these are our principles. When you talk of NRM, I am here to represent these principles. I'm not here as non-partisan, I am partisan. I am partisan because if you are sectarian, I'm not with you. Sorry. And I'm here to tell you that I will not be with you. I have never been with you. I will not be with you. So this dialogue is good without violating the Constitution. Because you must be very careful about that. We cannot violate the Constitution. The dialogue is good. This dialogue, we shall see how we move. Because we are very sure of our positions. They have worked. We still have problems. That's why I would like to advise some of the partners to be careful about the words, because you were talking about the words. When you say ashes, Uganda is not ashes now. No, Uganda is not in ashes. It was in ashes, but it's not in ashes. That one I will not accept. That Uganda is in ashes. No way. It's not in ashes. It is growing. It has got problems, yes. But it is growing. It's not in ashes. The other word you need to be careful about is citizen-led. Yes, you're talking of citizen-led, citizen But are we the only citizens here? I think we should look for another word. You could say elders-led or something. But when you say citizen-led, then it is a constitutional issue. Who represents the citizens? It's not an informal group like this one. It is. I think that there you need to see the words how you use them. Maybe elders, maybe I don't know what words you can use, but citizen-led. Citizens are represented by the people they elect. Not, I think there you may get into some problem. The sweeping under the carpet. This is nothing you have swept under the carpet. We had and that's why you need to be, because you are saying this is the first time the Ugandans have got together. That one is a bit, should also be moderated, because we had the CA. CA was the first time when people elected by the citizens got together. So you cannot say this is the first time. What is correct, where I agree with Justice Ogola, is that even when we got together in the CA, we were definitely talking at one another. That's what I totally agree with. We were talking at one another, shouting at one another. We were not dialogue. That's what I agree with. That one is correct. I think this is the first one now, where you say this is the first time. The first time we are dialoguing, not talking at one another, not shouting at one another, not shooting at one another. But as to a forum of citizens, you shouldn't usurp the role of the CA, because the CA was the first. Of course, they even had conference in London, the Lancaster House. These people know. They also had that meeting there. But why I would not emphasize the London one was that many of them were not elected. So I think where you need to be careful is to forget the role of the CA. The CA was definitely the first citizen-led, if you talk of citizens, because these were delegates elected by citizens. And at that time, actually, we were not even in parties. You remember that time it was on individual merit. It was on individual merit that time. But talking at one, dialoguing for sure, we had a position, others had a position. The federal people had a position, we rejected it, we had our position. So we did not sweep under the carpet, but we did not agree. So it was not sweeping under the carpet. We just didn't agree. The ones of federal, they were saying this. The ones of, even at that time, we did not accept multipartyism that time. But later on, we accepted. So I think we should be very careful this time really, so that we don't make new mistakes. Now the other details we shall discuss. The 8 points. Values, it's good really to talk about values, because that one is not talked about. I think that's why there would be value addition, because in the politics you cannot easily talk about values, because the values are different regimes. The Muslims have different values, the Christians have different values, the maybe what you could actually try to think about distilling a minimum. I don't know whether you to distill a minimum. Yes, you need to go about it very carefully. What will be the minimum which doesn't offend this one, doesn't conflict? Because if you try to impose your values, because me, I have my values, every groups have values. My mother was a Moroccan, she had her, I was also a Moroccan for some time, then I abandoned my mother. Then she remained with her values, I remained with mine. So how do we get the LOCM, the lowest common multiple, as far as the values are concerned? The number which can enter into all the numbers. You need to be very careful about that. Don't be too prescriptive, because you will become part of the problem. But if you are careful, I think one could get the minimum. And in a way, and that's why I had supported the cultural institutions, but they started doing their own things. In a way, the cultural institutions could have helped there. You see, for instance, many of the tribes in Uganda are patrilineal. Many of the societies are patrilineal. They are not like the ones in Zambia, which are matrilineal. Here you go through the father. And that one later on goes into our societies here are also exogamous. You marry outside your clan. You don't marry within the clan. Most of the tribes are like that. And that's what is. So there are issues. If you are really serious looking for how to safeguard our future, the future of our children, there are some good issues which you could look at. I don't know whether one could constitutionalize them or just see how to distill them, and now that will bring things like homosexuality. I think there we could agree on the minimum. That could be one of the minimum, and so on. But the others, diversity, definitely we should be discussed. For us, we took a position on it, and that's why Uganda has moved, like the way we handled the army. You remember the problem of the army being recruited from a few areas. We said no. The army must be recruited equitably from all the districts. So whenever there is recruitment, 10,000 people divided by 130 districts, each district must contribute a quota. So we handled that diversity in our way, but we can share it with the others. The political, the constitutional, we have got very strong views on this one, all this. I would want here on land, definitely it would be good to discuss across the political lines, across the cultural lines, the issue of land, because this land is being mismanaged. by everybody. There is a problem of Mayo land and the Vivanja people in some parts of the country. The problem of land grabbing in the different areas. But even where there is no land grabbing, there is land destruction by archaic, by anachronistic cultural practices, inheritance practices. When people inherit land, somebody has got 3 acres, he has got 6 children. When he's dying, he says, "Oh, mugawane takaryange mgwenkanya, divide my land equitably." So what was 3 acres is chopped up, becomes decimal points. So what is the future? I'm very happy to be here with you people. This one, I took position on this long ago. And if you come to my area, where I started political work in 1960s, you will not see land fragmentation there, because I educated the people. There's no land fragmentation. Land fragmentation is that area near me. So I'm very happy to see the churches and the mosques. Where will your people live if you don't guide them on this? A nation without a vision perishes. That's what the Bible says. I don't know what the Quran says. We have been talking about this, but of course, but you don't even help us. I have never heard, so I'm very glad to be in this dialogue. I've never heard a bishop or a sheikh saying that, as Museveni said, because I've been talking about this. Please, land fragmentation. I talk alone. The ones who want to talk, sometimes they attack me, sometimes, or they ignore me. Yes. That message. But you see, you miss opportunity, because you see humility is not a bad idea. Because you see, some of the people have spent a lot of time on these issues. So, if I publish a document, because all these things we have spoken about, we have written about, but people don't bother with that. People are going to Rome, people are going to Canterbury, others are going to Medina, to Mecca. Yeah, but also there are these local issues here. Why wouldn't you? Recently I was asking some of the people, you people, I led villagers in Ruero here to fight a war. How do you come and throw them out of the Vivanja without informing me? Because I'm their leader. I'm not dead, I am here. I'm the one who led them to fight and bring some little wakiri. But you come and you throw away my supporters without. This is a joke. Because this is a joke. And it creates problems. Because there is no harm. If somebody has spent a bit of time, find out. You've been on this issue. What do you think? What do you think? No? Somebody who has spent only 2 days on something, he comes to give me a lecture. Of course, I also tell him off. So I'm glad we are here. We are dialoguing, not talking at each other, not ignoring one another. That's why I am here. That's why when some people are against the dialogue, I say, what do you fear about the dialogue? Even iPod. You remember that time when we were having a debate, a schoolboy debate? during the elections. For me, I knew that a debating society is for children. Entire school, I was the president of the school of the debating society. But being an old man, this Western culture, Trump and an old man, your grandfather, you are debating. What do you say? You said, I didn't support the idea of the debating society, that debating. But when the Sheikhs insisted, I said, okay, this is also. Let me go for the debating society. So we came and I heard that I defeated those who were there. So my question is, I told my people here, what are you worried about the dialogue? It's very good. Really, among all the things, some of the things you said are not are contestable. But the one which is not contestable is talking at one another, shouting at one another, even shooting at one another, rather than dialoguing. So with that, I'm very happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to really a serious dialogue, so that we see how it will add value to whatever we are doing. I thank you. This is my honor now to launch this the process, the dialogue process, and I wish you good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and we've taken guidance that nothing will be swept under the carpet in this dialogue. It's now my pleasure to invite the Deputy Attorney General to guide us on the issue of the communique from this event of commissioning the Uganda National Dialogue process. Honorable Mwesigwa Rukutana.
I think that communique, this idea of citizen-led, I think we need to be a bit humble, because
Your Excellency,
we have to get some.
I have already addressed that, listening to your concerns. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, the Secretary General of the NRM, Your Eminence Sheikh Mubaje, Head of the Interreligious Council, Your Lordship Emeritus Justice Ogola, Head of the Eminent Elders, Honorable Ministers present, distinguished persons, all of you, and protocol observed. We have been engaged in a consultative process of coming up with a communique that sets forth what we have agreed upon, taking into particular consideration the guidance of His Excellency the President, and we thought that we wouldn't have completed our work if His Excellency the President did not sign the communique, so that it guides us in our endeavors in the work that is coming. I want to take the pleasure, Your Excellency, Right Honorable, to read the communique for everybody to appreciate, so that the President can sign it. I have taken the liberty to afford a copy of the improved version to His Lordship Justice Ogola, and I can see he is not objecting to anything. I think that he has concurred with what I've put. following representatives. Right when you. But now, but this, they have taken all my copies.
This is the new one. This is the old one.
Oh no, this one. Okay. Your Excellency the President, this is the communique we have prepared for your signature. And I want to read verbatim. The Republic of Uganda, Uganda National Dialogue Communique. This communique is issued this 18th day of December 2018. Whereas Article 1 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda bestows all powers and authority of the state on the people of Uganda and whom the mandate to express their will and consent on who shall govern them and how they should be governed through regular, free and fair elections of their representatives or through referenda is vested. And whereas the national objectives and directive principles of state policy enjoin all organs of state and people of Uganda to work towards the promotion of national unity, peace and stability, and whereas the national objectives and directive principles of state further directs that every effort be made to integrate all the people of Uganda while at the same time recognizing the existence of their ethnic, religious, ideological, and cultural diversity, and further directs everything to be done to promote a culture of cooperation, understanding, appreciation, and tolerance for each other's customs, traditions, and beliefs, further directing the establishment and nurturing of institutions and procedures for the resolution of conflict fairly and peacefully. And whereas the government of Uganda has since the year 2016 presidential and parliamentary elections supported the diverse efforts by citizens and civic organizations to reflect and consult on the need for a national dialogue aimed at achieving the above objectives, which efforts culminated into the formation of a multi-stakeholder group of organizations known as the Working Group of Six, WG6 in brackets, coordinated by the Office of the Prime Minister and comprised of the following convening organizations and groups. 1. Interreligious Council of Uganda, IRCU. 2. The Elders Forum of Uganda, TEFU. 3. Women in the Situation Room, WSR. 4. Interparty Organization for Dialogue, IPOD. 5. Citizen Coalition for Electoral Democracy in Uganda, CEDU. 6. National Consultative Forum, NCF.